Having some technical issues right before this with kind of a choppy stream, so hopefully we don't have those now, but might be postponing this in a little bit. Either way, I'm going to play for a couple minutes. Just to, there's a shot at the beginning of the lecture. My name is Trevor Smith. This is part of BAM's masterclass series. I'm a piano instructor at Bass Academy of Music, although I do teach a couple other instruments there as well. So we have a masterclass that will be streamed from the page every weekday. Tomorrow is Grace Odell. I don't know what her topic is actually, but she's a fantastic piano player and a great person. So don't just come here for me. Make sure you tune in every day. We've got drummers, we've got keyboard players, we've got horn players and guitar players, and they're all lecturing on a topic of their choosing. So today we're going to talk about the concept of the beat and rhythm in music. But like I said, before I get to that, I'm just going to play around a little bit for a couple minutes just to kind of break the ice. So just stay tuned. I think we have a little beat here. Okay, great. Cool, I think definitely ready to teach now. It's one of my favorite boleros. Cool. So, the beat. What is it? Rhythm. What is it? These are concepts you hear talked about all the time, but not necessarily explained, right? And someone might comment on the rhythm or comment on the beat. So today what I want to do is I want to break down what beats are and what rhythms are from like a very fundamental level. So let's define our terms, shall we? So the beat is usually what you would feel as like the pulse of the music. Typically it's something steady, so it doesn't like stop and then start and start and stop, right? Usually the beat is pretty steady, and it's kind of what you would tap your feet to if you were going to listen to a song. So it's kind of intangible. It's kind of like defining the color red. You know, you might be able to say that it could be bright or it could look a particular way, but the best way is just to kind of look at it, right? And in this case, what we're going to do, I have a couple beats on my Yamaha motif here that I've pre-recorded, and we're going to listen to them, and I want you to try, like, if you just start tapping your foot along with the music, right, you should be tapping the beat. Chances are you've heard music before, right? So it's something that you've already developed. You just didn't necessarily know it was called that. So, first beat I have loaded, yeah, there you go. It's kind of this neo-soul vibe. So if you're gonna kind of tap your foot or clap along with this, right? For me, I feel it right here. Do you hear how my snaps are totally steady? And they line up with the music, right? So that feeling is what we call the beat. And the beat could be the keyboard, I think. There's number 2. Right on. So it keeps playing right on. You can kind of feel how it fits in. I'm not sure if I'm still alive or not. Hang on. If there's anyone in the comments, can you let me know if I'm still alive or not? It says that the video went out on my end. Oh, great. I still am. Awesome. Okay. I just can't see myself, but that's all right. So, so anyway, going back to this example, there's the beat. It's steady, but it could be faster. So, for example, if I just speed up the BPM here, which stands for beats per minute, you can tell that the music is faster, right? And accordingly, the beat has sped up with it. Great. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Technology these days, right? Right. So now you can tell the beat is much faster. So let's look at a couple other examples of music. So here's the next one. So this is just a super basic drum beat I recorded for some practice a while back. And if you tap your foot along with this one, or snap, or clap, you can tell that the beat is much slower, right? The beat, another word for it is pulse. You can kind of think of it as what you would tap your foot to, and it's kind of this fundamental aspect of the music. Let's do one more example just to kind of demonstrate, right, that this can happen in a variety of ways. So earlier, I was playing a genre of music called bolero, which is kind of like the Latin version of like a jazz ballad or something. And I happen to have this beat on my keyboard that is it's an approximation of what it would be in real life. It's these drums. Now you can tell it's not quite the same as the other stuff, right? It doesn't really have the same boom ka, but you can still hear that there's a pulse in it, right? You can tap your foot along with this. It's right there. So the point here really is the beats can come in a lot of different forms, right? Like you don't even need to have drums to have a sense of pulse. You could go like, there's the pulse right there, right? So anyway, that's what the beat is. It's a steady pulse that kind of goes throughout the music. And if you're not really sure where it is, just try tapping your foot along with the music, and chances are you've got it. Now, rhythm is something that is related to the beat, but not necessarily the beat itself. So for me, I think of rhythm as the way that musical parts interact with the beat. So rhythms can be kind of between the beats, or they can be right on the beat, like that keyboard part was earlier, or they can be much slower and take, like a rhythm can be kind of long and take up lots of beats at once, or it can be really, really fast. So I'm going to kind of demonstrate that to you right now. So yeah, why don't we use the bolero beat here? So I'm going to play a keyboard part, and I'm just going to play what are called quarter notes, which are notes that are one beat long. That's the rhythm. So it's just steady with the beat. Can you hear I'm doing one note per beat? But I could do it longer if I wanted to. Maybe I want to do a rhythm that takes up 2 beats, which would be called a half note. We'll get into the terms a little bit later. So I could do like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? So do you see that the rhythm can kind of, it's based around the beat. Similarly, I could keep going, right? So I did notes that last 1 beat, notes that last 2. Let's try notes that last 4. These are called whole notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's something really important here. There's kind of there's a concept that I didn't talk about yet, which is that I have the beat internalized. In my head, the beat is going the whole time. I'm always thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And what rhythms I'm playing, right, are dependent on how many beats have transpired. Similarly, so those are all notes that are longer than the beat, right? Like the note might be 1 beat long, 2 beats long, 3 beats long, 4 beats long, or who knows how many beats. Like it doesn't really matter. But you can also go the other way and do notes that are between the beats or kind of like smaller than. I've got some visual aids of questionable efficacy. We'll see how they work out. That'll kind of help explain this a little bit better. But let me play it for you first. So here's the beat, right? Now I'm gonna do a note in between the beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You see how they're all kind of between the numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So rhythm is something that interacts with the beat. It's not necessarily the beat, right? But it always is kind of based around what the beat is doing. So those are the two main concepts I kind of want to lay on you before we jump into specific rhythms and how to think of them and everything. So the beat is the pulse of the music, which is steady. It's what you tap your foot to. In almost all music, well, I don't want to make such a generalization like that, but in a lot of music, I'll say that. In a lot of music that you're familiar with, probably, music is the beat is steady. It's something that continues unerringly throughout the song. And then rhythm is something that kind of weaves in and out of the beat. Rhythms can be notes of durations longer than the beat or durations shorter than the beat. So if you understand those two things, then you have a great kind of starting point for this lesson. So if you have an instrument and you are following along, go ahead and grab it now. These things are not keyboard specific, even though I'm playing a keyboard. So if you play guitar, if you have a ukulele, if you got a piano, whatever it is, go ahead and go to it now because we're going to try to do some stuff together. While you're doing that, I'm just going to check my notes here and make sure I haven't veered too far off the beaten path. Great. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to teach you guys a couple rhythms today. I'll probably have to go ahead and all right, so we're going to start with notes that are longer than the beat. We're going to do a little bit of sheet music notation today, but I don't want to stay on it too much. So the first kind of rhythm are just rhythms that are straight up with the beat. So when I was snapping earlier, you would just play along with the snaps. These are called quarter notes. Now there are some kinds of notation where quarter notes get more or less than 1 beat, but for right now we're just going to assume what's called a time signature of 4/4. Don't worry if you don't know what that means. It just means that quarter notes get 1 beat. So I'm going to go ahead and load a metronome here. Uh-oh. Go ahead and turn that up a little bit. Alright, so I've got this metronome here. It's set at 104. So if I was going to play along with this metronome, if I was going to do quarter notes, I'm just going to play one note with every click. And if you have an instrument, go ahead and do it with me. I'm going to play a C. Here we go. So C, 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 C. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't be shy now. Do it with me. So you can tell each note only lasts one beat long. Each note only lasts one beat. I shouldn't try to change chords and talk at the same time. So that's the most basic kind of rhythm. The next that we're going to do is we're going to do a note that lasts 2 beats long. I'm going to go ahead and, it's kind of, let me see if I can maybe refresh the page here. It'd be great if I could actually see the frame. Well, yeah, I'm not going to actually be able to tell if you can see this, but what I have right here is a quarter note with 1 beat. And then you can see a half note. It's the same symbol. So the quarter note is a dot with a stem right here. And then the half note is not filled in and it has a stem. And that one is 2 beats long. And so that works like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Go ahead, do it with me if you can. I'm still playing a C. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Right. Not rocket science. So the next kind that I want to talk about is a whole note, which gets 4 beats. And so you just count to 4 when you play it. Notice the beat is going on, right, this entire time. That's key to this. So there's always a beat going on, whether you're hearing it internally or I have a metronome kind of holding it for us here. The rhythms are dependent on where the beat is. So just remember that. Anytime you're playing music, you should have kind of an idea of where the pulse is. So whole notes, here we go. Ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Yep. So we've got quarter notes, we got half notes, we got whole notes. Now, some of you curious people might be wondering, well, what about notes that are 3 beats long? Well, those are actually called dotted half notes. I'll go ahead and draw it for you here. I didn't actually write it on my piece of paper. So it's like the half note right here. And then it just gets a dot. 3 beats. So I'll try to hold that over my keys since I know those are in the frame. So this is the dotted half note. And it's really simple. It's just the same concept, right? You just go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the way that music ends up working, right, is that you combine these rhythms into a single phrase. So music usually doesn't go like, 1, 2, 3, 4 forever. It's a combination of them. With my students, actually, I have a set of flashcards of combinations of half notes, quarter notes, whole notes, right? And we can kind of create rhythms that way. Rather than going ahead and doing that now, though, I really want to focus today on something called subdivisions because I think subdivisions are super cool. If you don't know how to spell that, I'm going to type it for you in the chat right now. So these are called rhythmic subdivisions. You can just type it into Google if you want to learn more about this. So we talked about notes that are longer than the beat, but we should also talk about notes that are shorter than the beat. Remember earlier when I had that beat going on? Let me see here. And I was doing them between the beats, so if this is the beat, right? I was going like between the snaps, right? So there's a system for this, and basically the idea, right, is that you divide the beat. It's like splitting the atom. So this fundamental aspect of music, right, you do you divide it into equal parts, kind of like a pizza, if you want to think about it that way. So I have a couple drawings here. I didn't actually use formal notation for this, but I kind of drew lines to kind of show you how they relate. So the first one we're going to talk about is eighth notes. Okay, so eighth notes, again, this is assuming 4/4 time, which if you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. It just means that quarter notes are the ones that get one beat. It's all kind of relative to that. So eighth notes, there's 2 equal parts per beat. And the thing is, even though this sounds like it's kind of abstract math and everything, you've probably played eighth notes before or heard. I know that you've heard songs with them. So just wait for me to play it, and you'll see how this is really kind of a concrete idea that you can apply to any kind of musical creativity that you're working on. So anyway, eighth notes. So you do 2 equal parts per beat, and we count these using ands. So like if it's beat number 1, I say 1, and then for the note that comes between the beat, I say and. If you take a look right here, so if these are my snaps, right? Each one of these black lines, the eighth notes, you can see the first one lines up with the snap. So the first eighth note is going to line up with the snap, but the second one is going to come directly at the halfway point between it. And then on the next one, it's right on the downbeat again. And so we count this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Each beat goes up 1 number at a time, right? So that's beat 1, that's beat 2, that's beat 3, that's beat 4. So I just say 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So let's try this with the beat and see what it sounds like. I'm just going to play C's for right now. If you've got a keyboard at home instrument, go ahead and do this with me. So here's the beat, and remember, we have to divide this into 2 equal parts and do 2 notes per snap. So it's kind of quick, right? Let's try it. On C, here we go. So 1, 2, ready, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. See? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Right. So those are eighth notes. You can tell that it's going to get quick because we're only going to divide the beat even more from here. I might slow down the beat a little bit. So those are called eighth notes. That just mean all that I really care about that you remember is that there are 2 notes per beat. We're like dividing it in half. So now we have what are called triplets. I'm gonna hold this a little closer here. So again, these are my snaps. These little black strokes right here. And then if you can count, right? Like if you've seen Sesame Street, the count. I'm not gonna do that accent, but 1, 2, 3. Now there's 3 notes per beat. So rather than dividing it into 2 equal parts, now we have to do it into 3 equal parts. So 1, 2, 3, and then there's the second beat. Notice that every third subdivision, every third note is going to line up with the snap. And these are going to feel kind of different, right? By the way, the count for this, rather than saying like 1 and 2 and, we're not going to say 1 and 2 and. We're going to say 1 la li, 2 la li. If you've ever had a music class in elementary school, you've probably had to learn this or something very similar to it. So, let me actually put on my metronome rather than the beat here. I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. Okay, so if this is my beat, I need 3 equal notes. You want to try it before I show you? I'm going to play 3 notes per snap. Go ahead. I'll give you about 20-30 seconds to try it. Remember that they have to be even. Remember that they have to be even. So you can't go like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. They have to be evenly distributed. Okay? I'm going to show you. Sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm actually going to slow this down way down and give you a better shot at it. So here's the beat now. Now we got a much slower beat, right? But we still need 3 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly, 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly, da 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 dun 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 dun. Notice that these feel different, right, than eighth notes. Like if I do eighth notes, which again is 2 notes per beat, much slower, just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. But triplets, just a little bit faster because we're dividing the beat into more parts. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly, 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly. Right? So it turns out that you can divide the beat into more and more parts. So we divided the beat into 2 equal parts. We divided the beat into 3 equal parts. But you can also do it 4. You can do it 5. If you do it in 4, it's called 16th notes. If you do it in 5, they're called quintuplets. If you do it in 5 or 6, they're called sextuplets, septuplets for 7, and so on and so forth. And so the music, or the musical beat, is infinitely divisible. You can go faster and faster and faster. Just for fun, I'll kind of show you how fast they get. So again, here's my beat. So I'll start at quarter notes, and I'll show you each subdivision up to like maybe 6. So here's quarter notes. You can tell it's just right with the beat. 8th notes, I need 2 equal parts per beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now here comes triplets. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now the next one is going to be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now quintuplets. I think I can do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 per beat, and then 6 is... So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can see they get faster and faster and faster. Okay, so anytime you divide the beat, those are called rhythmic subdivisions. I typed it into the chat there, so if you forget, I know they always come up with these words that have like a lot of syllables and sound like something very scientific, but really it's a pretty simple concept. You just take the beat and you divide it. Now I wanted to get a little bit to how you can make music using rhythmic subdivisions and stuff like that today, but I'm a little bit worried we're going to run out of time. So what I'm going to do now is show you with a drum sample on my keyboard how these concepts apply in like a real musical context. So this isn't just kind of an abstract thing. It's not just arithmetic, right? It's like I said in the title, it's math you can groove to, and I'm going to prove it right now. If you have a drum sample on your keyboard now, might be a good time to load it. So, okay, I'm gonna do it one more, make sure. Okay. So the way that a drum beat works, this is like the standard rock backbeat that you hear in a lot of different things, is that you have what's called a bass drum on beat 1 and beat 3, and then a snare on beat 2 and beat 4. I kind of think of them as quarter notes, right? They just last for one beat. But if I was to count out loud, 1, 2, 3, 4, notice that this is the pulse, right? This is the beat. So here's the rhythm that's going to interact with that. I'm going to do a bass drum, which is my B on my keyboard. It might be different on yours. I'm going to do a bass drum on 1 and 3. Here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I need to switch between the two, and I'm going to put the snare drum on 2 and 4, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. There's the snare drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I go between them, it's kind of like I have quarter notes, because the bass drum is going to be on the first beat, the snare drum is going to be on the second beat, then the bass drum on the third, and the snare drum on the fourth. And so you kind of get this feeling of quarter notes. Check it out. So here's the beat. See how I have quarter notes? We're already grooving. Now there's one more essential ingredient to really get the beat going, and I'm going to have to do 8th notes on what's called the hi-hat. So what are 8th notes? Anyone remember? Anyone want to comment that's following along maybe? So remember, quarter notes are 1 note per beat, and then half notes and whole notes are like longer, but I'm looking for a subdivision called 8th notes. It's 2 per beat. So on my hi-hat, which just happens to be F sharp on my keyboard. So here's the beat. I need 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then this, and when you put that all together, it's kind of like, well, going back to the food analogy, right? Like I've got my cheese, I've got my pepperoni, I've got my tomato sauce, right? Well, I got to put them all together to get something that really grooves, right? In this case, bass drum, snare drum, and hi-hat. And I want you to think about the rhythms here. All we have are quarter notes, which is going between the bass drum and snare drum, and then I have eighth notes on the hi-hat. And it's going to sound really cool, just like food tastes really good when you mix it all together, at least when you do it the correct way. There's some Midwesterners out there that put ranch on some things. I don't think that ranch should probably go on. It's my personal opinion, but in this case, we've got good taste here. We're going to mix it together right. So check it out. Here we go. There you go. So on the hi-hat, I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You can hear that they're faster, right? In the bass and snare drum. And then just quarter notes on the bass drum and snare drum. So you can see, right, how different rhythms, when you put them together, make something beautiful. And then there's little variations to kind of make it fancy, but you hear that the eighth notes are steady on the hi-hat. Let me give you one more example. I actually used this example in a earlier video. Is this my right sound here? Yeah, great. Probably won't be able to see all of my hands here, but this is a piece by Debussy. It's his first arabesque, and he does this really cool thing where he puts eighth notes, remember, 2 per beat, against triplets, which is 3 per beat. There's a lot of composers that do stuff like this, and it creates this really kind of interesting. It sounds like a cloud of sound almost. It's really cool. So this is what musicians might call this 2 against 3, but what they really mean are eighth notes, which are 2 notes per beat, against triplets, which are 3 notes per beat. So check this out. So in the left hand, I'm going to do eighth notes. So my beat's right here. Hear that? Just 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. And then in the right hand, I'm going to do what are called triplets, 3 notes per beat. So here's the beat. I might be able to do this, I don't know. One more time. 1, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly, 1. Done. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Now, the magic happens when you mix those two things together. Check it out. Let me take one more shot at that. Cool, right? There's another composer named Philip Glass, who is one of my favorites for kind of capturing this kind of meditative sound. He does a very similar thing, but he'll do it with a smaller amount of notes. Maybe it'll give you a better idea of what's going on. So I'm going to take just C and G in the left hand, and then C and E flat in the right hand. And in the right hand, I'm going to do triplets. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly, 1 lolly, 2, right? There's the beat. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And in the left hand, I'm going to do just straight up eighth notes, just 2 per beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Let's check it out. Hear that? Oh, it's amazing. He's famous for doing this. It's almost like a joke how much he does it. But all that is just triplets against eighth notes. So now that you have a good understanding of what is going on here with like subdivisions or notes longer than the beat, I want to encourage you to experiment with it, right? Just sit down at the keyboard, put a drum beat on, find out where the pulse is, and just try different subdivisions against it. Try quarter notes, maybe try eighth notes, try triplets. You can even try some of the harder ones I did, like 16th notes and quintuplets. And you can also do notes longer than the beat and just mix and match them. This is how musicians make music, and it's not anything that a beginner can't do, at least not to me. So I just want to give a quick overview before we quit for the day. So 2 big concepts, the beat and rhythm. The beat is a steady usually steady, pulse that you can feel in music. It's usually what you can tap your foot to. There are some genres of music that don't have it, but most of them do for our purposes here. And then rhythm is the duration. It's how long and short the notes are. The notes could be longer than the beat. They could be shorter than the beat. They could be a mix of the two, right? But the rhythm is always played in relation to where the beat is. And so there's lots of different types of rhythms. We touched on a couple today. So quarter notes are the notes that usually get the beat. So if I've got the beat right here, quarter notes are just right with it, just like that. Half notes, I've got symbols over there, but you can just Google this stuff if you're interested in learning more about this. And chances are, if you have a music teacher, you've got someone right at the ready, right, to check this out. So half notes are two beats long. So if this is the beat, then I have to play a note that lasts 2 beats. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then similarly, you can do notes that last 3 beats or 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then similarly, you can go the other way and make what are called rhythmic subdivisions, which is where you divide the beat into equal parts. So if this is the beat, you can do eighth notes, which are 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Usually say it 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then you can also do what are called triplets, which is when you do 3 notes per beat. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly, 4 lolly. So feel free to just sit down at your instrument and experiment with kind of mixing and matching these together. Try to play eighth notes against triplets. Try to play quarter notes. Try to play half notes, and try them on different notes. I guarantee you, if you do that long enough, you will come up with something that you like, that you think is really interesting. Great. So that's all for my lecture on rhythm today. Please check out our Facebook page, Bass Academy of Music. We're going to be doing master classes like this every weekday, Monday through Friday. My day is Thursday. Grace Odell is going tomorrow. I don't know what her topic is, but I have the utmost respect for her musicianship, and I'm sure she's going to talk about something really cool. I'll probably be there myself. So, yep, that's all for me. If you have any questions, or if you want to share something that you made, feel free to put it in the comments, and I'll check it out. All right, until next time. See y'all later.